just want, we want to talk this working in one page, in shortest manner. We don't want to go in details of talking about, although details will tell, but just challenge is to show on one page. So, PD is parliamentary democracy. W is without some short form that we have written. Rest you understand, you are intelligent. Get it? So, we are not talking this. These are the facts by the government themselves. The facts taken from PRS, facts taken from Parliamentary Affairs Ministry, facts taken from ADR, facts taken from newspaper. If you summarize all those facts, this is how you will get. And facts cannot be changed. So, if we say 68 days, so कोई ये नहीं आगे बोलता नहीं ये गलत है, 128 days है, तो ऐसे आप नहीं बोल सकते। बाकी चीज़ों में आप बोल सकते हैं जहाँ पे फैक्ट्स नहीं है, ठीक है। Bills are not discussed, so you cannot say no, bills are being discussed, isn't it? Check your fact. So this way we should consider. Why we say ideal time? Just try to compare this one and this. Since we are now in this, can consider this. So 48%, this is how you'll find it. And it has got also a status of dictatorship. Or we say it as executive democracy. This. If we compare this era, right, and this era, right. If you say it's A, it's B. There can be some positive things which we'll talk you after that. We are talking here now negative things. So here you'll find that there was no any criminal background member. Till this, we did not have criminal background. Criminalization started. This is how hung parliament. This is how we have written, breaking all the records in terms of poor functioning. So you can write as many adjectives, negative, harsh, as you can. Right. So this is how it is. So we'll talk how it is declining. But as of now, you have 43% MPs having criminal background, which I say generally it has become a sort of qualification. So those who are clean, right, they will doubt on themselves, on their talent. Right. Because those who are having criminal records, they will say, तूने तो कुछ किया ही नहीं आज तक. No, isn't it? देखो हमने 4 मर्डर किया. Right. So this is what you'll find, right? Qualification, right? This you can say. And 68 days, when our country needs more, let's say, we have more issues and challenges, so you 68 days. And it used to be, let's say, 120. So 120 days, this is all fine. It continued for some time, thereafter it started declining. Already bills related, we have told you that what happens. Now that's not the only quality of parliamentarians. If you see here, quality of parliamentarians, largely they will be termed as statesmen. So today we have leaders, not statesmen. And we say that generally Vajpayee is the last statesman of India. This ऐसे popularly बोला जाता है, philosophically, जो ऐसे में आप लिख सकते हैं. Now, Buddha is the first, last, most popular religious leader of our country. Vivekananda is contemporary most popular philosopher. Mahatma Gandhi is most popular leader. And Vajpayee is last statesman. This, अब आपको अगर वीर सावरकर के बारे में बोलना है तो बोल सकते हैं. Right. Anyhow, the question is this, let's keep statesmanship, that why? Because they had the quality terms of their education. So they had political science, economics, law, philosophy, these backgrounds they had. They were well educated. We have told also in civil services. They were well educated people. And so when they were well educated, they were the leaders, so that brings quality. Gradually it started that their quality started declining in terms of their education also. Like 70s onwards, agriculture background started dominating. So agriculture background and film industry people also entered, that happened. And thereafter criminal background people started entering. And then corporate sector. So as of now, if you see the quality in terms of their qualification, in terms of their background, you will have first criminal background, highest percentage, plus agriculture background. You will think कि अच्छी बात है agriculture background है. तो ये symbolism है. It is symbolism. If you make women prime minister, does not mean there is gender justice. Emergency पता है ना आपको? This. So, but emergency was imposed by right, one woman prime minister. Right. So don't believe in symbolism, let's say. So agriculture background does not mean कि agriculture का फायदा होने वाला. देख लो क्या हो रहा है महाराष्ट्र में. Right. अब पहली बार नहीं हो रहा है. Second time. The tribal people, etc., they are marching. Farmers are marching. फ्रांस नहीं है. फ्रांस में लोग people are powerful. मैक्रन मान जाओ, नहीं तो मनवा देंगे. ठीक है, यहाँ सरकार बोलती है रेट मान जाओ, नहीं तो गायब करवा देंगे. So this is nowadays protest is going in France also. You should know all these things so that you have more broader understanding of these developments. It is being said that कि new revolution in France. But इसके पहले भी हो चुका है yellow vest protest. Macron had to accept the demands of the people. This same thing, let's say now people are saying that if you do not accept, we will bring standstill. This, so they have their own system, let's say. We are not talking. In our country, let's say farmers protested few years back. Tribal people from Maharashtra, including farmers, protested. They walked more than 100 kilometers. You will never notice it. They did not create any trouble. So well behaved. Right. You do not know also about that protest. They protested more than certain 100 kilometers something. Anyone from Maharashtra may be aware. When they neared Mumbai, so they walked at night, not daytime, so that students should not get trouble by their protest. So civilized. They met government. That time BJP government was in power. Government promised, okay, we will see your grievance. Right. You know what happened. Now again they are protesting. This governments don't see their grievance. Anyhow, we'll not talk all these things. अच्छी बात नहीं है, isn't it? Let's talk about parliament. So the question is that parliament, governments, they come and go. The root problem is never solved. That is called agriculture. लोगों के यहाँ बम्पर क्रॉप हुआ है और क्या हो रहा है? अनियन, पोटैटो, इनपुट कॉस्ट भी नहीं मिल रहा है. Right? If you are grounded in India, so you can know, isn't it? They are not getting input cost also. what they will do? So, डेमोक्रेसी का रियल आउटकम वहाँ पता चलता है, पार्लियामेंट में नहीं. If it does not work, तो you pay, very heavily you pay, which can be overwhelmed by some, that this, that type of programs, initiative, policies. You can talk success of those programs, isn't it? But no governments have tried to solve problems of agriculture seriously. This, they have, आपको 4,000 दे देंगे, isn't it? Stipend, 4,000 से वहाँ पे गेहूं थोड़े आ जाएगा, isn't it? और इतने सारे लोग ये लोग हैं, ये ज्योतिष वाले लोग, महाराज जो लोग, isn't it? आजकल एक नए बाबा आए हैं, ठीक है, ये लोग सॉल्व क्यों नहीं कर देते हैं प्रॉब्लम? सबका भविष्य बता रहे हैं, अरे देश का ही भविष्य बता दो. नो. Anyhow, so right, gradually it started declining, and as of now, over 26% members are corporate sector, 26 to 27%. आपको क्या लगता है वो सिर्फ बिजनेस कर रहे हैं? Yesterday I told, isn't it, कि if you do not have power, तो आपको ओल्ड राजेंद्र नगर में क्या करना पड़ेगा? उस दीवार से सर लड़ाना पड़ेगा. नो, फिर IAS बनोगे आप, फिर पावर आ गया. और जिसके पास पावर है वो पावर आपको देगा नहीं. Right. The power remains concentrated in the hand of now businessman. Already he was powerful. Again, मतलब उसका लेजिस्लेचर भी उसका, बिजनेस भी उसका, सिविल सोसाइटी भी उसका, न्यूज़पेपर भी उसका. अरे तो जनता का क्या है फिर इसमें? सब कुछ तो उन्हीं का है, न्यूज़पेपर भी वही है, सारे चैनल उन्हीं का है. Right. This, anyhow, so that is how businessmen they have come in legislature plus agriculture plus criminal background. तो ऐसे भी अगर आप इतना जान जाओगे क्वालिफिकेशन, तो पता चलेगा कि उसमें डिबेट अगर हो रहा है तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. No, right. तो नहीं होना चाहिए. If it, at all there is debate and discussion, right, it is working and it is peacefully working, right, it is very good. Right. So that way we can consider this is one aspect of parliament. The parliamentarians' quality today it has declined. Hence we cannot address this problem merely by reforms, as we have told. That problems of democracy can be solved by democracy itself. It cannot be run by rule book. There should be rule book, but that is the basis, let's say that, rather than running it effectively. So qualification you cannot change overnight. This, that is one aspect. Then let's say that we say elections. Halanki election not completely part of this, but elections know that. There was a time elections were held and there was no concern for free and fair election. लेकिन इसलिए कि लोगों को पता ही नहीं था कि electoral malpractice भी हो सकता है. No, elections can be rigged, ये बाद में पता चला. Which started with this transition phase. The elections can be rigged. This, thereafter, this 90s era, rigging era, isn't it? Rigging era, booth capturing era. Right, this is to know. And you may not be aware about these things, ballot box type of election. No. So those who are powerful of the society, they will go to the booth center. They will not allow all those powerless people to come to booth. And by, let's say, 11 o'clock, voting finished. Because 10 people will go and they will take all ballots. This, we have grown seeing this scenario in our area. This you should know that. We enjoyed because पता नहीं था उस समय childhood में कि free and fair election भी होता है. So उसके बाद booth capturing, फिर भी booth capture कर देता. वो डब्बा होता था जिसमें ballot box होता था, तो उसको इस पे सर पे लेके भागते थे. वो भाग रहा है, फिर पुलिस दौड़ रही है पीछे से, एंड लेट्स से फायर कर दी है. So shoot out भी होता था, do you know? So next day newspaper comes, right? One person taking the box, let's say ballot box, shot dead. So gradually you overcome all these practices by bringing EVM etc. Then free and fair elections started. But you know that thereafter what happens? Thereafter again, let's say trust started in Election Commission of India. Again people started lacking trust, doubting Election Commission of India. Now that is the reason that Supreme Court has given a judgment. That way we can see. But that's not the point. Point is electoral malpractice. The elections, I say, election is baptization of politics. So electoral malpractice are very rampant. You cannot think of that how many different types of malpractices are there. You should salute to Election Commission that you have that it tries to tackle. But the scope of electoral malpractice is so high that it is not capable of tackling those problems. Yes, we have still, the good thing is at the end of the day elections are free and fair. That we have done. But in the process, let's say elections, time, people, and all those, let's say money, role of money, etc. People going to booth and let's say casting their vote. The vote cast, when they cast vote, it is fair. The process is highly, let's say, corrupt. This you can say. The way you know that caste, religion, community, this and that, plus malpractice, corruption, and every vote is bought almost. This you can say. So it is a sort of murder of democracy. And that democracy, once it was depicted, like people go and vote. A common man, a poor person, has only one thing, that he can go and vote. So in democracy, people vote. Once government comes to power, it does more for those who have not voted. And those who have voted, they are left behind. Because power remains concentrated, because all contracts will go to the most competent person, newly emerged entrepreneur of Asia. So all contracts in all fields. No. So I wonder कि कैसे इंजीनियरिंग भी आता है, बायोलॉजी भी आता है, केमिस्ट्री भी आता है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर भी आता है, फिजिक्स भी आता है, स्पेस भी आता है. राइट, ऐसा कौन सा माइंड है ऐसा? कौटिल्य के पास भी नहीं था. Anyhow, so the question is, this is how you'll find it. Democracy, the paradox of democracy. Common man, they think it is democracy, our right. They vote. But once they vote, government comes to power, then it works for those who have not voted. Or those who generally do not vote. Anyhow, this is how it is happening. The election, if you take, then it comes to, let's say, quality of work, debate and discussion, if you say. The quality of work, debate and discussion, number of bills passed, number of sittings, this if you see some factual type of things. So still it has record. The number of sittings, number of bills passed, still it has record. less number of ordinances issued. So, which we'll talk when we'll take ordinance. Then gradually it is started, you know that, misuse is started, this is how it is started. Here everything happened. Nexus, corruption, exposed, NN Bohra committee we have told somewhere, 1993. All the, let's say, scandals. So all those corruptions, scandals start here, including JMM bribery case, you know that. Right, that we say horse trading. In parliament there is a horse trading. What is horse trading? To voting. For voting you are getting 5 crore. This, तो अच्छा है, लोगों को भी पैसा मिलना चाहिए वोट के लिए. No, if people are seeking कि मुझे क्या मिलेगा वोट देने जाऊंगा तो fruity. So if people are getting money, right, and then law you bring, and you know already we have shared it, right. So you can do that level of corruption. Then cash for query scam. मतलब क्वेश्चन पूछने का पैसा मिलता है, isn't it? यहाँ आंसर लिखने का कोई पैसा नहीं मिलता है. So this is a cash for query scam. इसका किसी का इन्वेस्टिगेशन नहीं होता है. पार्लियामेंट के पास इतना ही मोरलिटी होता है तो दे शुड हैव इन्वेस्टिगेटेड, बट दे डिड नॉट इन्वेस्टिगेट. दिस यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड. आपका चिल्लड़ भी इन्वेस्टिगेट होगा. दैट्स व्हाई आई से सॉरी टू से दैट. आपका टैक्स में एक पैसा इधर से उधर हो गया तो ऑडिट नहीं हुआ, आपके घर आ जाएगा. वो आया ही किस लिए पता है आपको? राइट. वैसे भी अतिथि देवो भव. राइट. सो और उनका कोई इंक्वायरी नहीं होता है. इमेजिन सच एन अनइक्वल थिंग. व्हाट दे डू एट बेस्ट? एक्सपल्शन. राइट. एक्सपल्शन. एक्सपल्शन इज नॉट पनिशमेंट. वो तो चाहता था एक्सपेल कर दो. क्यों? नेक्स्ट टाइम वो नहीं जीतेगा, उसको पता चल गया है. This you have to understand all these things. 11 MPs, cash for query scam, they were expelled, and all those 11 were not supposed to get elected next time, because either their constituency was lost in delimitation, or they found that they would not win next time. Hence, अच्छा है पैसा ऑन कर लो रिटायर होने से पहले. Right. How does money came? No inquiry. Right. और उधर आप देखो ईडी वाले क्या कर रहे हैं. Right. एक स्टेट में, isn't it? So this is how you will find all this. No inquiry. It is not, let's say that ki parliament, let's say morality. Yes. HG Mudgal case. So HG Mudgal, the first such member of parliament against whom there was allegation of some malpractice. You know what parliament did? Parliament expelled him, even if he offered to resign. The Parliament expelled him, even if he offered to resign. No, we will expel you. That was Parliament. Now, you know that what happens. So if you talk corruption, if you talk quality of debate and discussion, if you talk factuals, all those things, so which is started, and you know that identity, all these things happen, this is how. Mandal, Kamandal, coalition politics, identity-based politics, caste-based politics, everything happened in 90s. And then Parliament started declining. And this, if it is declining, it is not something, let's say, wrong trend, because already all these things were found during this phase 90s onwards. So pandemonium started 90s. Already some facts we have told. Pandemonium, ruckus, walkout, disruption, all these things started. Decline of quality of debate and discussion, everything this will find that happened during 90s. How many facts you can write? It's difficult to write all these things. You should know these things. But all facts we cannot write. That's why I have just written few things to give a macro view of this. Some facts we should know, which while dictating also will tell, but this happened, and this already we have told that what is happening. In fact, if you find the gradual decline in terms of number of days, in terms of bills, etc., and in terms of debate and also discussion, the time given for debate and discussion, so the number of, let's say, questions asked, that level of analysis have been done. Right. In terms of question hour, short duration, let's say, discussion, question hour, short duration discussion, calling attention motion, and how many questions have been asked. There are records on that. And now you'll find that the number of, let's say, questions asked drastically reduced. It started reducing 19 onwards, and thereafter it has further reduced this. Similarly, budget or any bill. So what is the, let's say, duration of discussion? That duration of discussion has also declined drastically. It has declined. That 31 hours. In 2013, budget was discussed 31 hours. And in present government, this is the present government which has come, so further decline. There was a time budget was discussed 200 hours. Right. Discuss क्या करना है आजकल, isn't it? So either we have become very intelligent, knowledgeable, we do not need discussion, isn't it? This, our time has become very important. So discussion is a wastage of time. So it should be simply passed, isn't it? This, so that way positivity we can bring. Right. So this will find. So that is what we can say, that declining, it has declined in such a way that several terms are being written on negative side. Right. Nowadays a term is being used, parliamentary dictatorship. Right. Parliamentary dictatorship, rubber stamp. Democracy captured. Already we have told it is by Yogendra Yadav. Executive democracy because of so dictatorship अभी भी चल रहा है. And yesterday it was, the session of the House was, right, it is postponed to Monday. They don't want that the opposition party should raise questions. Right. They don't want joint parliamentary committee. Although they have themselves demanded joint parliamentary committee, it was constituted. This you have to understand. On 2G scam, the UPA government, BJP demand it is constituted. So why you are not allowing to constitute? On Bofors scam, it was allowed to constitute. This. So governments have allowed in past to constitute. You say debate नहीं होगा इस पर. क्यों नहीं होगा? Debate parliament में नहीं होगा तो कहाँ होगा? गलियों में होगा. Debate करवाने में problem. You cannot behave as if कि you are, let's say that कि sacrosanct. Others are poor fellows. You cannot create that kind of situation. कि ruling side party members are, whatever they say it is absolutely correct. And they only speak truth. Right. And all opposition members only speak lies. ऐसा democracy नहीं हो सकता है. Right. Even if they may not have substance in their demand, but if the parliament is to decide that, say, after all, they have also been elected by people. The way you have been elected, if someone has come in parliament, so they have also been elected by people. The way you have legitimacy as a member of parliament, any other member of parliament also has legitimacy. You don't allow each and every demand. But you cannot tell that कि no, there will not be Pegasus पे कोई debate नहीं होगा. But Supreme Court जरूर committee set up करेगा. Rafale पे debate नहीं होगा, but Supreme Court जरूर उस case को hear करेगा. And Hindenburg पे again no debate, but Supreme Court has constituted a committee. SEBI has started investigation. So when they have done it, either they are foolish people. If Supreme Court is dealing with setting a committee, it means that Supreme Court is a precarious institution. You are so, let's say, that knowledgeable that you know that it is a wrong thing. Hindenburg has done wrong. He may have done wrong. Right. But the questions that he is raising, you answer those questions. We are not about conspiracy, but the questions he is raising and he has exposed, you need to answer, matter will end. But you do not want, rather let's say that you yourself are going in the wells of the house, ruling party. Ruling party members are going in the wells of the house and they are not allowing the parliament to function. The last 2-3 days, this is how it has happened. Right. It is irrespective. So you cannot say it has become now almost 8 years of present government. And there have been several such, you cannot say that your government is completely, let's say that clean and past government was completely corrupt. Right. Rather, corruptions have been exposed time to time. Right. You have a series of corruptions. The only thing is that media does not show all those things. And those corruptions you have, so you cannot say that no, you are clean and opposition party cannot raise. This way democracy does not work. That you create a black and white situation. We have gone into such a situation, that is how society gets divided. By deliberately you have divided media into two poles. Media has got divided. So those who, let's say, support government, they will be considered as they are supporting government. And those who will, let's say, somehow defend opposition, they will be said that they are supporting, they are biased to opposition. Ultimately, what you have done? Ultimately, media has been destroyed. This is how. Why you have created such a situation that they are forced to take side. Right. Ultimately, media will lose. This loss to democracy. Short-term benefit you can gain. You can have the benefits of that. But ultimately, media will get destroyed. That is how it has happened. Now, two sides of media. One talks on Rahul Gandhi, other talks on. So, this will find divided. Deliberately it has happened. So democracy will suffer when there is no media. Because when people fought for their independence, they fought for independence of media also. This both go hand in hand. So this is how you'll find that when bills are being passed, just imagine. Government, Jammu and Kashmir bill. You had in agenda 370, acceptable, though nobody is talking on that. But in lieu of that, you have also removed state status and you do not allow the bill to be discussed. दोनों चीज कैसे हो सकता है? Why in parliament there should not be discussion? Does it mean कि you have the legitimacy only? Does it mean कि you own this country? Right. ऐसे behavior ऐसे ही होता है. You are the only protector of the country's security. Other people are not concerned. So you create this kind of situation. You bring the bill, but there should be debate and discussion. Right. But no debate. Then farm bills, again passed without discussion. This is how a new term has been given, dictatorship. It's parliamentary dictatorship. So these all terms nowadays, let's say, being talked. In fact, already we have referred that the Chief Justice of India, he told that rubber stamp. On that he told that if laws are not properly debated and discussed and they are not, let's say, properly, let's say, made by the parliament, tomorrow they would land up in the court. Yes. Because they will be challenged in the court. This is one side. On the other side, you should know that we have new different standards. On the other side, we are going in this declining. Others, if you take parliament, so new trend is that there is pre-legislative scrutiny. And there is legislative impact assessment. It is post lawmaking. It is before law. It is practiced by UK, Australia, India also. 2014 test, then dropped. What is this law-making process? You should know that law is drafted by executive and then it is presented to parliament. So other countries have adopted some new standards so that law-making further gets improved. And what standard they have adopted is called pre-legislative scrutiny. Means when law is drafted by executive and going to legislature, before that there would be pre-legislative scrutiny. For 1 month, the bill will be open for public remark. This. So this 1 month, it will be, so 1 month advance bill is drafted and it will for the public to review it. And once public review it, so whatever the review you find, it is monitored. The review by public is monitored. Some of the good remarks, reviews, etc. are compiled, and then the bill is introduced in parliament along with compilation. Compilation of public remarks. Okay. There, in that way, people are also indirectly participating in law-making process. And since public remarks are also compiled and presented in parliament, therefore, people will actively, let's say, that participate and they will give their views on that. Hence, once bills are introduced, then they are sent to the committee. That compilation is also sent to committee. And then committee will also try to see whether there are some relevant remarks by the people which can be incorporated in the bill, and then committee would recommend. This way law-making process will improve. Right. And we here, you know what is happening. Now, once law is made, हमारे देश में लॉ बनता है, इम्प्लीमेंट होता है, वो रिव्यू नहीं होता है, ये क्या हुआ? This very few laws are reviewed. ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं होता है, but ऐसा कोई systematic aspect नहीं है. We do have law commission, we do have reform commissions, but there is no proper systematic, the way pre-legislative scrutiny is done, it is a formal process adopted. Similarly, legislative impact assessment, it is properly done by legislatures. They will carry out research, analysis of the implementation of the law to assess the impact of the law. So that tomorrow when you are either abolishing law and bringing a new law, or you are amending that law, so your assessment is also available. In our country, laws are introduced for amendment without any assessment. Hence, flaws in the law will remain as flaw. They will not be improved. So, this way, let's say, means legislative impact assessment is also not properly done. Other countries have this practice, now it has become international practice, and it is considered also as suggested reforms. India also started, let's say, when UPA government was there, it started. By the time NDA came, it practiced for 2014. Thereafter, they dropped it. Although government posts bills on My Government portal, but selectively. It is selectively done. The bill can be posted, a bill cannot be posted. This is not a formal mechanism. So, this way we can consider, and that is how the criticisms. On the one hand, there is emphasis on such kind of systematic analysis and evaluation and law-making process. On the other hand, if you see our records, you will find that these things are not good, they should change or they should improve. This is how I can say this. This is how the negative side we can talk. At the same time, we have positive sides, we'll talk after this, so let's write on this. The working of Parliament. The working of Parliament can be analyzed as mentioned above, in three phases, of which the first phase is considered the most ideal phase, which laid down a very strong foundation for democracy. And it is this foundation which so far has helped in survival of Indian democracy. It was ideal because of leaders being statesman type, and they had high regard for democratic conventions and standards. They also wanted to set a high benchmark. And that's why H.G. Mudgal right, case which was first such malpractice, by member of parliament, who was expelled by parliament, and hence parliament was very swift on upholding political accountability. Parliament was very swift on upholding political accountability. Next, transition phase, 1970s and 80s. 1970s and 80s can be considered a transition phase from good to bad era, of Indian parliamentary democracy. Which experience three important negative developments as mentioned above. Including emergency political malpractice, which was considered as dance of democracy. It showed that when executive was in majority, what it could do to Indian democracy. So although leaders, let's say even she can be also appreciated, that's very different thing. It's not that positive things. But then that does not mean that let's say it is good thing. She is the only leader that in the world who had credit to have decisive victory. Right, 1971. No leader in the world had this credit. Because US has never won war. Are you aware about this? They get mired in the war, then they withdraw. Right. It's another matter that their economy does not become bankrupt. So, but they have never won decisive war. Same thing with Russia. That India is, and that also without fighting war. So that is the leadership. That's why she was considered Iron Lady of 20th century, not Margaret Thatcher. Initially she joined, became Prime Minister, she was considered as Gungi Gudiya. गुड़िया ने ऐसा बोला. This is should know that. So this is what you'll find. So there are positives, ना कि positive आप नहीं लिख सकते. There are positives, but then in long run you are not known for those positive things. आज के डेट में इंदिरा गांधी को आप किस लिए याद करते हैं? इसलिए नहीं कि हमने 71 वार जीता. Right. इसलिए कि emergency. So you know more emergency rather than, because long run में that is how it has its consequence. It gives others, let's say, also legitimacy to act. This. So that is what leadership will find that. She was also successful, no doubt. But at the same time, she did some of the things which still we have, means we are, let's say, that having that consequence. 42nd Amendment Act, emergency, doctrine of committed bureaucracy, bureaucratization, that's it, politicization of bureaucracy, all these things. So long run, you have more consequences of those things rather than the benefits that you get. This, and that is what her candidature was. She was disqualified by Allahabad High Court because of electoral malpractice. Bureaucrats were campaigning in elections in Uttar Pradesh. This, and that is how some movies were also made that time, isn't it? And there was a song called Jhumka Gira Re Bareli Ke Bajare. So, ये सारा इंदिरा गांधी के लिए था. This is to know that. Andhi. Right. The movie was also initially banned. So these all, let's say, that things happen, right? Transition, let's say. Let's write next third phase. Coalition era. Coalition era, hung parliament era. Means phase 3, sorry, phase 2nd, not 3. Although you can write, I have told transition to minimize number of phases. Even you can say Indira Gandhi era also is a one phase, coalition era second, third phase. It does not matter how you discuss. It is just a framework like paradigms you have, isn't it? It's a framework to analyze something. So we are trying to tell in a simple framework, first, then transition, then second, third, easy to understand and write. So third phase, hung parliament. During this phase, many new developments, but negative, experienced. First, many new developments, but negative. Experience, first. Politics based on power and party interest rather than national interests. Next, criminalization of politics. Next, nexus corruption. Between politicians, bureaucrats, and criminals. Next, hung parliament. The most unstable phase of Indian parliamentary democracy. Phase of Indian parliamentary democracy, 1989 to 1999. Next, communal politics, identity-based politics. Within one point, communal politics, identity-based politics, regionalism, etc. Next, beginning of disruption of house. workouts, and decline in number of days of decline in number of days of number of days of working of parliament working of parliament. Next, frequent application of gelatin to pass budget. To pass budget. GUILLOTINE. Yes, yes. GUILLOTINE. Right. You know this? Are you aware? It means खाना खाया नहीं है, बोला खा लिया, ले जाओ, ऐसे समझो. जब करेला आता है खाने के लिए तो क्या बोलते हो? So जिलेटिन ऐसे ही याद रखना. करेला याद रहेगा तो याद रहेगा. So basically let's say that it means the bills have been discussed, debated and passed. Basically for budget it is applied. The demands for grants have been discussed and voted. It is presumed. They will not discuss, they will not vote. Rather they will presume all these. हो गया, ले जाओ इसको, हटाओ यहाँ से. Isn't it? So simply let's say कि without discussion, without voting, it is presumed and then it is passed. This. But parliament was for debate and discussion. एक और पॉइंट लिखो, फिर स्टोरी बताएंगे. It has also been found that when finance bill is passed, there is lack of quorum. When finance bill is passed, there is lack of quorum, and hence often the sitting of the house is postponed. Sitting of the house is postponed. See, try to understand that कि budget session चल रहा है अभी, कुछ डिबेट नहीं हो रहा है. Right, you can see this. फिर मंडे तक पोस्टपोन हो गया. नो, आपका सैटरडे को हाफ डे होता है उधर ऑफिस में, इनका पूरा फुल डे फ्री है. This. So this is what you will find. So वो क्या करेंगे, वो ऐसे ही वर्कआउट करते रहेंगे. अब टाइम नहीं बचा, लास्ट आ जाएगा सेशन का, नहीं होता है अरे टाइम तो. This. Then guillotine will come. Right, and it is passed. When income of the country is being decided, किसी को मतलब नहीं है. This is not. That is called finance bill. It is related to income. जब एक्सपेंडिचर वाला बिल होता है तो शुरू में पूरा हाउस इज फुल. इस क्यों? कुछ मिलने वाला है. This is how can say, ताकि वो जाके कंस्टिट्यूएंसी में बोला कि देखो हमने आपके लिए सरकार से हमने बहुत कोशिश किया था, तब ये मिला है बजट. Basically, when expenditure side of the budget is presented, the house has huge presence. when income of the country is being debated, even quorum भी नहीं है, मतलब 55 members भी नहीं है, इसलिए कि किसी को मतलब नहीं है, right? क्या इंडिया अर्न करेगा उससे कोई मतलब नहीं है, right? Often the quorum is not there, so house is often postponed. This is how the poor status of finance bill. Yes, that has happened. Yes, rather when income of the country is being debated, there should be highest level of pressures. Yes. So that कि लोगों को भी तो पता चलेगा ना कि कैसे इनकम जनरेट होता है, लेकिन जब फाइनेंस बिल पता होता है किसी, आप भी बजट में क्या पढ़ते हो, एक्सपेंडिचर साइड वाला, नो एग्जामिनेशन में तो वही आएगा, इनकम साइड वाला तो पता ही नहीं है, दिस इज हाउ पुअर नॉलेज, बेसिकली इट हैज रिजल्टेड इनटू पुअर डेमोक्रेटिक नॉलेज ऑन इनकम साइड, दिस दैट इज व्हाट यू कैन से दिस प्रॉब्लम. Already budget wala we have told you 1999 and 2004. That point I will not dictate. 2011 and 2012 also we have told, 10 and 11. 2010 and 11, let's say winter session washed out, and 1999. So budget was passed without discussion. 2004 budget was also passed without discussion. This anyhow, let's say next phase 3. Phase 3. It has been infamously termed as diminishing of parliament. Diminishing of parliament. As the decline of parliament which started during 1990s. The decline of parliament which started during 1990s. During 1990s. 1990s. Has seen steep decline, or going to extreme level of malfunctioning. That is, it has even broken all records. It has broken all records in terms of malfunctioning. Worse than second phase. In terms of first, percentage of members having criminal background. Next, number of days of functioning of parliament. Next, bills not sent to committees. Next, 35% bills passed within half an hour of discussion. Next, in terms of discussion, number of questions asked, under various rules like question hour, calling attention motion, etc. Also have seen decline. So let's just to show this difficult to tell so many facts. If you see this in 14th Lok Sabha and 15th Lok Sabha, 113 short duration discussions were held. In 16th and 17th, 42. This 14, 15, 152 calling attention motor notices. This 17. है तो कम से कम. This 14, 15, 21 half an hour discussion, this session that we have. 14 only 5. %. Thereafter 30%. These are some facts if you find this. So no need to write it all these things. You know there are several facts. How many facts you will write? There are so many facts that it is difficult to, because you will not be able to write in answers. So generally I try to dictate as much. We expect, yes, you should know a bit more, but yes, we are also concerned whether you will be able to write in answers. That one. This. So anyhow, let's write further on this. Due to such decline, there are various types of terms now used to characterize Indian parliamentary democracy. Like parliamentary dictatorship, rubber stamp, and executive democracy. It appears that Parliament has become a representative of government and not people. Or representative of government and not people. And hence, various concerns have been raised about Indian parliamentary democracy. Which are not new, in past also, especially, 1990s onwards, concerns were raised. Like once Somnath Chatterjee remarked, that Indian democracy will not survive. If things continue like this. In bracket 2010 and 11 sessions were completely washed out due to opposition. As of now, it is happening the same. That Parliament is non-functional. And blame is, and opposition is being blamed for. It's non-functional. This is PRS, let's say that. This is PRS, let's say statistics. You can see that 73% of budget was passed without discussion. And it is 2018-9, so yes, guillotine applied. Percentage of budget guillotine applied, 100%. Yes. So this one at least you can write note, NET note. According to PRS, since 2017 and 18, 73% of the budget was passed. 73% of the budget was passed without discussion. Without discussion. 18 and 19, 100% of the budget was passed without discussion. 100% of the budget was passed without discussion. So these are negatives. So do we have positives left? So let's write on this. Positive contributions by Parliament. Positive contributions by Parliament. Even if it has experienced a diminishing trend, still Indian democracy has experienced following positive developments. First, it is due to first phase. That military and bureaucracy remain under the effective control of government, and it is the politics which dominate in decision making. वो bad politics वाला politics नहीं. Politics means political system. Next, people have still faith in democracy. That they would not support any military coup. COUP. This. तो आप चाहे नेहरू को गाली दो या जो करो, लेकिन जो नेहरू ने लेगेसी दिया है वो आज के डेट में कोई लीडर नहीं दे पाएगा. मतलब फर्स्ट जनरेशन ऑफ लीडर्स दे themselves establish, right? Why election commission, CAG, Supreme Court, UPSC, all these institutions, they function merit based. It's not कि Britishers they said that. That time we did not have all these. The institutions were, that's why institution building era we have told in administrative reforms. So the credit, if you have military which is independent, secular, merit based, and it does not indulge or it does not, let's say that ki somehow try this or that way to dominate in decision making, that credit goes to first generation of leaders. Same thing with bureaucracy also. But you can see in other countries how military dominates. Right. The military dominates or bureaucracy dominates, but it is the politics which is still effective, having effective control. Hence, that way India is a responsible country. Because two institutions, if democracy controls, that is an example of diffracted society. And in our country, even today, military cannot have coup. It cannot think of, कोई support नहीं करेगा. This, even if democracy is whatever democracy, but people will not support military. And even military does not have this aspiration. Right. Even military also does not have aspiration that कि governments corrupt हो गई हैं, let's ऐसा नहीं होगा. This is how the positive side. Let's write next point. Even in the era of decline, 1990s. Even in the era of decline, 1990s onwards, following landmark legislations legislations. Following landmark legislations have been brought, like for 73rd, 74th Amendment Act, 73rd, 74th Amendment Act, next Forest Right Act, Manrega, Forest Right Act, Manrega, GST, IBC, GST, IBC, etc., which have contributed, which has contributed in, which has contributed in democratic governance and development. Democratic governance and development. Next, India also has some standards of advanced democracies. India also has some standards of advanced democracies in terms of first separation of powers. First separation of powers. Next, independent judiciary. Independent judiciary. Judiciary. Free and fair elections. Free and fair elections. Elections. Next, political reforms. Political reforms. Reforms. And therefore, change paragraph. Therefore, such positive developments give hope to democracy. Give hope to democracy that even in diminishing era, since 2014, Parliament has some good achievements. Parliament has some good achievements like GST, IBC, transgender bill, triple talaq bill, transgender bill, triple talaq bill, right. Change paragraph. However, the reforms are needed. The reforms are needed to address diminishing trend. Otherwise, diminishing can become drifting. Diminishing can become drifting towards chaos. That is, when Parliament does not function, it fails to address grievances of people. It fails to address grievances of people. Grievances of people. And gradually there is accumulation of grievances which may result into high level of dissatisfaction, and eruption of such grievances through chaos. Eruption of such grievances through chaos. Through chaos. So that is how in short we can say that. No need to write so many things. Already we are writing so many things, isn't it? So this is what you should know, that when you talk, the parliament is the most important institution. So there are so many positive things you should know that. Hence, even if when you write negative, but you should have a positive overtone of the question, not a negative overtone of the question. You should have hope, optimism, democracy. We are not like banana republic. So we are not a precarious nation. Yes, we have challenges, but we have the potential also to solve those challenges. This also. So that way we need to think. Hence, when you write negative, so that does not mean that, let's see, everything is lost. The same negative we have, but at the same time we have many positive developments. It is the way democracy evolves, that way we can see. Plus, on positive side, let's say that our democratic credentials are so ingrained in us, it is so, let's say that, sipped in us, that we may not have support for any military coup. Yes, that kind of thinking will not germinate in our society. This. Plus, we can say that the parliament, even if it has, let's say, some negative this and that, but they have some also, it has also brought some landmark legislations. We have also free and fair election. That is how you do this or that, but still somehow we try to have free and fair elections. A government cannot guarantee its victory unless people vote that government. This level of democracy we have got. Otherwise, you know that the ruling party could have not been defeated. If, because it is in center, it can easily win at state level. This, why it will lose in Delhi? So just paradox of democracy you can say. At national level it has been given overwhelming support. But at Delhi level, let's say people, the same Delhi people voted ruling party at, let's say that BJP. All Lok Sabha seats for BJP in first, let's say that 2014. And the same Delhi voted a new party. Imagine a new party. From nowhere a new party came and people voted. This is how the beauty of democracy. And that is how it should happen. That this new party, new leaders should come. They will give the hope to the democracy. That level of democracy we have, where a person can come, form a party, can win election. This, so that is how the positives we can consider. But that does not mean that everything is fine. The problems that we have, we need to solve that. Election Commission, so many things they have done. We have free and fair election. Elections in India are the biggest exercise, you should know that. Since 2009, it is the biggest managerial exercise in the world. Right. Even a company does not have that level of managerial exercise. Because of our population, it is the biggest democracy. Yes. So that way we'll see this. So this is how there are so many positive things we can consider. You can see that in developing countries, when democracy, they were also born at the same time, but they have not emerged as democratic as India has emerged. This. So this is what we can take about when we say about positive, but reforms needed, because when parliament will not address the grievances of people grievances will increase, and one day it will become volcano. A spark can tomorrow, let's say that, so can become a volcano if grievances are not addressed. And once grievances become like that, people have dissatisfaction, so then it becomes chaos. Already people have lots of grievances. They do have lots of, again now in Maharashtra protest is happening. This is how I say that, out of nothing, today or tomorrow you get protest. Right. So farmers are protesting, again in Uttar Pradesh also farmers are protesting. You know that Uttar Pradesh farmers have again started protesting. So these are that way grievance. These are all grievances which we do not try to address. And one day it will become more. The losses that we incur by farms protest were much more than the benefits that you will get. Because they block the road. So when they block the road, it results into disruption of supply chain. Supply chain, because road was blocked, the transportation problem. Then the alternative route causes huge traffic. The petrol, diesel. You need to calculate these, let's say that what we can say, precision engineering. Right. If you calculate all these costs, let's say that. And why it happened? Why you allow 1 year this protest? We don't calculate all these costs. Yes. So this is, it is a sort of wastage. Anyhow, let's conclude, write few lines for more way forward, isn't it? Way forward. Way forward. Right. Following reforms have been suggested. Following reforms have been suggested to address problems of Parliament. By National Commission to review the working of Constitution. National Commission to review the working of Constitution. ARC second. National Commission to review the working of Constitution. ARC second. सुना है नाम? ARC second. Dinesh Goswami Committee. Dinesh Goswami Committee. Dinesh Floor Mill. Dinesh Goswami Committee. Law Commission. Law Commission. Niti Aayog. And Vice President 15 points reforms. Vice President 15 points reforms. Some important steps are first, simultaneous holding of elections. Simultaneous holding of elections. Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog. Next. Mandatory sending bills to committees. Mandatory sending bills to committees by National Commission for Review, National Commission to review the working of Constitution. Next, the 15-point agenda of reform by Vice President. The 15-point agenda of reform by Vice President. Vice President has some important points like first, a code of ethics code of ethics. Next, a matrix for attendance of MPs, attendance of MPs, attendance of MPs. I'm forgetting some points. Let's write next point, next separate point. If it will come in mind, I can tell one more and two more, right? Because in 15 points, all are not new. They are whatever we are writing, so, but there are 2-3 new points. So 1, 2 I'm forgetting, it will come, I will tell. Next, Law Commission and this Dinesh Goswami Committee. Law Commission and Dinesh Goswami Committee. Dinesh Goswami Committee. Goswami Committee. Next, limited application of whips. Within that, limited application of whips. Whips. Limited application of whips. Next, disqualification. Disqualification of MPs should be decided by. Disqualification of MPs should be decided by President on the advice of Election Commission of India. President on the advice of Election Commission of India. चलो एक पॉइंट याद आया है तो राइट इन वाइस प्रेसिडेंट वन मोर पॉइंट. Minimum 130 days of functioning of Parliament. Minimum 130 days of functioning of Parliament. Functioning of Parliament. And the last point, general point, pre-legislative scrutiny and post-legislative impact assessment. Pre-legislative scrutiny and post-legislative impact assessment. Pre-legislative scrutiny and legislative impact assessment. Legislative impact assessment for improving lawmaking. Improving lawmaking. There are several reforms recommended. There are several reforms recommended by committee and commissions. By committee and commissions. And they have been debated and discussed. They have been debated and discussed so many times that government knows well about reforms that we do not need to set up a committee. We do not need to set up a committee, rather we need to take up reforms. We need to take up reforms. Since these reforms are for those who are in power, hence it becomes very difficult as they can only bring change. They can only bring change. Scholars and thinkers can merely give ideas. Merely give ideas. Ideas. So that is what we can tell. So for a specific thing, we have told you about this committee, that committee. In long range, you will not remember all these things. Yes, you will read so many times for GS and public at that you will become familiar with these things. Once you get familiar, you know them. This, so you are familiar, we have discussion, all these things. And again, let's say that it is not, something is not taught for a particular topic, let's say that. It builds your holistic understanding, which helps in every field. This working of parliament, hardly people know. Hardly you get in, let's say that, the books that you read. So, but it helps in every field, be it GS, essay, understanding, knowledge, views, because unless you know the past working of parliament, you cannot form a view on present. This, and it is related to all those things happening in our society. Day-to-day basis, policies, laws, amendments, this and that debate. So you know that how parliament has worked, how it is working, and what are some of the reforms. And reforms have been debated in so many times that people know it. Even those who are in government, they also know that kya reforms lana hai. But it is related to them themselves. So will they bring? That is the most important thing. So you are scholars, those who are experts, they can just give an idea. They can write a good article in newspaper, you can read and you can feel happy. Right. But ultimately reforms unko lana hai and they are not bringing. This the reforms they have given idea. Enough things have been written. 30 years ho gaya hai. 1990 mein Dinesh Goswami committee. Right. So you have, let's say that such a number of, let's say, years. 2015 last law commission to recommend on representation of people act reforms. So there are several such, let's say, developments where we find that the committees are there. Even ARC is complete 2009 if you take. Now 2023. And National Commission to Review is 2003. So 20 years to ho gaya. The question aana chahiye. Isn't it? National Commission to Review Working of Constitution. तो एक क्वेश्चन तो बनता है, right? कमिटी के रिस्पेक्ट में, right? Reforms हो या ना हो, right? So that is how it is. And all these जो डिबेट चल रहे हैं वो तो unnecessary हो रहा है ना, सब कुछ तो unnecessary हो. आप पढ़ोगे, लिखोगे, आंसर लिखोगे, isn't it? इतने सारा टाइम वेस्ट हो रहा है किस लिए? So and enough, every year we teach, isn't it? Every year we teach all these things. जो लड़के पुराने होते हैं 3-4 साल वाले हो जाते हैं उनको तो बिल्कुल वो हो जाता है, यही लिखना है बस, right? So उनको याद है वाइस प्रेसिडेंट 15 points, right? तो वो रहेगा, right? So this is what you'll find. Facts, because they are not reformed. Anyhow, Parliament we finished. If you take single topic, so yes, it is big topic. There are so many things related to Parliament, and still, the more you teach, the less you teach. This is how you should know. Your questions can be framed by different ways. N number of questions you can frame on Parliament. You can see questions in GS paper second on Parliament, in public administration, then you can see how many variety of questions they ask. Those questions which are asked sectoral ways, sectoral question means the questions which are asked for a particular topic, like say office of profit or a committee, estimates committee. So there is no challenge in writing that answer. Although still it is challenging. But it is not as challenging as a sentence is written on Parliament. No. The parliamentary democracy has experienced a diminishing trend. Discuss the causes of decline of parliament functions. No. Why parliament is declining? Anyhow. So if a sentence can be framed, let's say diminishing trend, you can say that. A parliamentary democracy is simple, you can say that. The parliamentary democracy is increasingly getting characterized by executive democracy. Examine. What you will write? बहुत सारे लोगों को तो समझ में नहीं आता है that कि क्या है क्वेश्चन, एग्जीक्यूटिव डेमोक्रेसी क्या होता है. आपको तो थोड़ा बहुत पता चल गया एग्जीक्यूटिव डेमोक्रेसी क्या होता है. इज इट लाइक दैट? यस. सो न्यूज़पेपर में जो हेडलाइंस होते हैं कई बार वो क्वेश्चन हो सकता है. वो क्वेश्चन ज़्यादा चैलेंजिंग है आंसर लिखना. इट डिमांड्स एंटायर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ नॉट ओनली पार्लियामेंट बट ऑल्सो एग्जीक्यूटिव. राइट. दिस. So that way they ask also question, 1, 2 questions are asked. Whenever we ask those questions, generally people do not understand. Paper second is more challenging than paper 1. This is super. इसलिए कि जब बहुत सारे लोगों को तो पहले नॉलेज होता है, बुक्स में भी नहीं मिलता है. प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि बुक्स में भी नहीं मिलेगा आपको. पेपर 1 में तो चलो कुछ बुक्स भी है, इधर प्रसाद एंड प्रसाद. दिस तो यू नो इट कि साइमन में लिखना क्या है, डिसीजन मेकिंग ही लिखना है. राइट. डिसीजन एग्जीक्यूशन तो नहीं लिखना है, डिसीजन मेकिंग ही लिखना है. राइट. सो कुछ ना कुछ डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली रेलेवेंट लिखेगा वो. बट यहाँ पे लेट्स से दैट व्हेन वी से राइट इंडियन पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी इज गेटिंग कन्वर्टेड इनटू executive democracy. The recent trends show more of characteristics of executive democracy rather than parliamentary democracy. क्या लिखोगे आप? Right. This. कहाँ से शुरू करोगे? क्या शुरू करोगे? क्या इंट्रोडक्शन होगा? ठीक है. कुछ पता नहीं है. जहाँ से जो आया माइंड में वहीं से शुरू हो गया. This. Isn't it? अब एस्टिमेट्स कमेटी के बारे में आएगा तो ये तो पता है. इट इज ए फाइनेंशियल कमेटी. इट इज मिनी पार्लियामेंट. 30 में नो तो वो भटकेगा नहीं. सॉरी मतलब डिविएशन विल नॉट बी देयर. सो इफ पब्लिक अकाउंट कमेटी तो यू विल राइट समथिंग रेलेवेंट. Isn't it? ये और बात है कि जो मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है वो सेकेंड लाइन में आएगा या थर्ड लाइन में, बट आया तो. बट एग्जीक्यूटिव डेमोक्रेसी, पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी, राइट, वो भी 20 मार्क का क्वेश्चन है. राइट. सो इट इज अ चैलेंज. दैट इज हाउ इट टेस्ट्स योर राइटिंग स्किल्स. तो पेपर 1 टेस्ट्स योर राइटिंग स्किल फ्रॉम ए डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव and paper second tests your writing skill from a different perspective. This there वहाँ पे conceptual clarity बहुत ज़्यादा होना चाहिए और concept based ही आंसर होना चाहिए. राइट. अब वहाँ पे लड़के क्या गलती करते हैं कि वो थियरी में पेपर सेकेंड लिख रहा है. साइमन का डिसीजन मेकिंग, और डिसीजन मेकिंग भी पूरा लिखा नहीं, तब तक कोविड आ गया उसको. So decision making he has not completed yet. Let's say he should have written decision making completely, and by the time उसके mind में ये आया होगा कि link करना है, isn't it? So COVID example came. And paper second में तो you have to have entire knowledge of polity, system of government, system of administration, and you have to write essence. Right. That is how the challenge. This is how you should do. So let's take now executive now.
Excuse me, sir. So the topic of prime ministerization of Indian parliamentary democracy got skipped. We haven't talked about that.
Yes. क्या? So we'll talk in executive. Right. So when we'll take Prime Minister and Cabinet, Council of Minister, again you remind, although 2-3 persons also, people have also talked, so I told we will deal in Prime Minister topic. That time I skipped, means I forgot to talk on that. So when we'll take Prime Minister, now we are going to start that, we'll cover it.